What's going on, everybody? That's right, it's go time. It is Truth Will Set You Free this lovely Tuesday. We're back on Truth Tuesdays for episode number 66. If you're joining on the podcast, welcome. That means you're watching it after Tuesday, so it's probably pretty awkward if you're watching it on a Thursday. Regardless, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Right now, backstage, we got Casey and Easy. We are currently searching for Suni in Japan. Don't know where she is. She should be coming soon. And Kevin, the man that got us taken off of YouTube for a week, granted, I don't think he did anything wrong. He will be here shortly. He had a meeting. I don't know what kind of meeting. And because we respect people's privacy, we're not going to go ahead and ask him. So, guys, before we get this show started, please hit the share button. Go ahead and let people know we've gone live. As you know, our algorithm is looking pretty good the last couple days. I don't know what happened. But do us a favor, start hitting that like. It is also on our Be The Change backup page. The more likes you hit, the more shares you hit, the more it helps. It's time to stand up against tyranny by actually sharing this stuff on your social media. Today, we are talking about the Predator drone in Afghanistan that all of a sudden went out of the news and nobody is talking about anymore. We'll talk about AOC's Tax the Rich dress while she is at the most expensive event in almost all of America. We'll talk about the Black National Anthem. I've got some math on the V word that really brings into question some of the numbers that are out there. And then the MTA out of New York is actually doing some interesting stuff that people don't know about. So go ahead and hit the share button. Again, I know we're not on YouTube, so we got to get our numbers up on Facebook. Please hit the like, hit the heart, hit the care button. Let's go ahead and get this show started. I love that people already apparently know from my video earlier that I've got a gigantic sty on my eye. It looks like I've been in a boxing match. It's ridiculous. Look awful. Casey can't even look at it. What's the matter, Case?
Dude, my eyes are so sensitive. Like I can't even put like scopes on my guns because I can't anything with eyes. I can't watch people put eye drops in, anything. They just start watering. It's awful. Oh,
struggle.
Looks like you had a rough weekend in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, I looks like I apparently was awake too long. We're gonna wait for a couple more people to come on. We're gonna chit chat. I actually forgot about one other thing that I wanted to share. I remembered, then I forgot. Oh, the post that the news put up. I forgot about that. The news post. I started writing. I never finished it. Asking for stories of unvaccinated loved ones dying of COVID-19. They did not get the response they were expecting. And I'm going to show that later. So we've got a lot of topics to talk about. We're going to go very quick through things. I guess right now there's no better time than the present. Talk about the store. As you can see, everybody, we got the gentlemen are rocking. Show your Be The Change shirts real quick. This is our shameless plug on the merch. I'm rocking the Follow the Money shirt right here. And there's little... If you haven't seen it, here you go. I'll scroll it in because it's pretty badass. On top of the Unvaccinated Lives Matter shirt. So there you go. Follow the money with little needles. Anyways, you get what that means. Not like follow the money and make a bunch of money. But anyways, there's also some other stuff on our website. I can actually even flip up. I decided to put these on so you can see the new designs. We've got this bad boy, Impeach Biden, Fire Kamala, Retire Pelosi. Fight Against Tyranny, Unvaccinated Lives Matter. These go on shirts, not screens, just to be clear. I Will Not Live in Fear, the Black Flag t-shirt. Is that up already, Case?
Yeah.
Black. Yeah, it is. Okay. And then there's some Sunni shirts as well.
I already shared one.
Did you just share one? Where'd you share it?
Well, the Fight Against Tyranny shirt is Sunni.
Oh, that is one. Never mind. I forgot. That's a Sunni shirt. And it's got a little Sunni signature on the back, along with some other ones that we're just creating right now. That'll be up later tonight. If you want to know where to go, what's the current coupon code? Do we still have a 20% or is it 15% right now, Case?
Well, Wake Up. We still have Wake Up. That's 20%.
Okay, for now, we got a 20% coupon code, which I'm putting in the comments. Wake up. There you go. So I'll keep playing that up there. And the actually, that's not the whatever. Go there. You can go to the store. But here's the last thing I will show right here. Is this bad boy. You go there, then you're going to go to the store, and you will see all the different shirts we have. Men's, for example, you're going to see all of them. We've got a lot in women's. So we got the Unvaccinated Lives Matter, Impeach Biden, Awake Not Woke. Still have the cash shirt if you want to support him, follow the money. And then we do have Sunni shirts as well, which are below. We got the Make America Think Again is back in stock, as well as some of the other stuff. All right, that's enough for shameless plugs. I'll again put the Shopify store in the comment box as well. All right, let's talk. Gentlemen, before we get into the show, what kind of, I know we shared a lot of stuff for 9/11. We're not going to talk much about it. I think it had an odd effect on the 20th anniversary and what we're going through. Easy, what did you feel on 9/11?
It's interestingly, I felt pretty disengaged. It wasn't something that I really wanted to go back and look at a lot of, and there's a lot of documentaries, that kind of stuff being run on TV. I saw what I saw. I think that for 20 years, we've kind of lived the pain and the consequences of those decisions. And with what's happened most recently, it was kind of for me, it was a somber day to see and know that we were going to wake up the next day and have tremendous division in our country, because that's kind of one period of time. And I think, Casey's probably going to touch on this too. It's always a period of time where we get to kind of feel united as Americans. And I just, that is not the impression that was left with me this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Casey, what do you think?
I actually disagree. And the reason why I do is the morning I woke up on 9/11, my Facebook feed, I've never had it be as full of proud Americans as I have in prior years. It's usually there, but this year it was unusually large amount of people talking about 9/11 and the significance of it, and a lot of people talking about 9/12, which, as everybody knows, is one of my favorite days. Being alive in America is, we were all Americans that day, and I do believe this one was different, and I do not think it was in a negative way. I do believe people actually started to have solid conversations and understanding and trying to see unity through this time.
I guess I should say it was more somber. I saw a lot of incredible emotion around and tailored to it, and I think, again, kind of tied to what's going on currently this year, right? Not so much anything else.
Okay.
So maybe that's a more clear way to specify.
Sure.
I definitely cried more this year when I started thinking about it and talking about it. And I mean, you saw the guys on Fox Sports. If you saw what I was doing and what I was up to, but there was it was different. It was definitely different this year. Now, Josie Wales, aka Kevin from Liberty Revolt, aka the man that got us kicked off of YouTube for a week. Just kidding.
Congratulations, and sorry about that.
Whatever. Whatever, jerk face.
That's not you, Kevin. You're a veteran. What is that? I mean, this year different than any? How many years ago did you start serving?
So I joined up in 2012. Was when I first joined. I was 19 at the time. I still remember vividly the day. And when I joined, the thing that got me in the door was school, in all honesty. But the thing that actually made me sign that contract and take the oath was remembering what had happened, remembering the attack on our country, and wanting to serve and wanting to continue that fight. This year, there was a lot. It seemed that because it was the 20th anniversary, that there was a lot of, like you said, it was very somber at times. But personally, because my understanding of Afghanistan and the reasons we got in have shifted, I'm looking at it more of the government people within our government use the death of 3,000 Americans to justify the death of 1 million innocent people over in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Yemen. And I'm not just looking at the death toll from 9/11. I'm looking at how 9/11, how those 3,000 Americans' lives were then used to justify the Patriot Act, were then used to justify killing families, dropping drone strikes on kids, justified to get us at each other's throats. And it's just, to me, what 9/12 was the American people putting aside the government. The government did not represent the flag on that day. The flag represented the people. And what I saw on this most recent 9/11 and the lead up into it is people starting to remember that, wait a second, that flag isn't our government. Our government isn't the flag. The government we have now serves under that flag and serves that country, but at any point, a different government can replace it, one that serves our values even better, because what the flag stands for, what the American people are, what our cultures, what our values are, is not tied to our government. It is tied to us as a people. And I've seen that more and more lately, people starting to wake up and realize, hey, wait a second, like, what we are, what makes America so great, what makes America the greatest empire that's ever lived is the people that build up our communities and make it so that the suffering that we all go through in life, because we all suffer, we're not going through it alone. We're supported by our communities, we're supported by our neighbors and our friends. And that is the part of the post 9/11 world that needs to be recaptured and brought back to the forefront, because that is what we are losing nowadays. People are at each other's throats all the time. And so when I look at why I signed up personally, it's because I love this country. I love the people of this country. I love the values. And I remember the tears on my teachers and my parents' faces that day. I remember not as a kid, not knowing really what was going on, but kind of figuring it out later on down the line. And so, sorry, I've been rambling about this.
You're good.
But I really think that if we want to recapture the spirit of this nation and the spirit of our unity and everything like that, it's going to take a lot of pushing back against these narratives where you have George Bush, one of the most evil men of the 21st century so far, coming out and getting praised by the people on the left who compared him to literal Hitler and wrote articles about how his grandfather helped Hitler come into power. And all of a sudden they're praising him because he compared the 9/11 fucking terrorists to the January 1st or January 6th insurrectionists. If that is not...
Do you think he was... So I watched that 3 times, just that part. Do you think that there was an underlying element? I mean, he never said January 6th. There was this vague, I think, and I do think that was part of the reference. The question becomes, was he also referring to Antifa and all the I mean, he could have been there. He left it open-ended, but I think we all think that he was pointing towards that because he's talked so poorly on that day.
I think it's undeniable that he was absolutely referencing that. He might have been referencing in addition to Antifa as well, but like he was absolutely referencing it. It's because... I'm sorry, his father was the head of the damn CIA. If you don't think this guy is directly tied with the political elites and establishment, he absolutely is. And he doesn't mind getting all the praise, right? He doesn't mind that the left is coming out and like saying, hey, George, remember how we said that you were like a baby killer and you were the worst thing that walked the earth? Just continue. Just liken your supporters to terrorists and we're all good. Because I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I just became aware of it. They are working to change the definition of terrorism to include domestic terrorism. I need to find the bill on this stuff so that they would be enabled to use the same tools that they use to fight terrorism against American people. Which
essentially takes away our freedom, our First Amendment rights to protest. Yes. So they can pick and choose who actually has a First Amendment, which I had said to this day is the reason I was there on January 6th. It wasn't even about the election. It was about the First Amendment rights, not for some Americans, but for all Americans.
Even more terrifying, imagine the Patriot Act being legally applied to U.S. citizens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to pretend like it isn't already. All right. So here's what I took from the day. And we've got Suni backstage. We should be able to pull her up shortly. I think she's getting her mic on and all that stuff. First off, do us a favor. Since we're only on Facebook, we're also on our backup YouTube page, but nobody follows that, so they don't know. We got to get more numbers up on Facebook. Please, 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 at least make a comment. Let us know what part of the country you're from. Let us know anything about, say hello, whatever it is. Hit the thumbs up, hit the hearts, hit the care button, and please share this. This is informative. And if there is somebody that does not like what we say, if we get the opportunity, I will go live with them later. If they want to. Granted, a lot of the arguments I've been getting in have not followed through once I asked if they would like to be on a live. I get laughed at. Shocker. Because fuck facts. So to my 9/11 experience, and I know a lot of you guys watched the video, and I really want to know Suni's experience as well when she gets on here. It's interesting. So I was on a college campus, and in my head, I think that all college campuses are ultra liberal, like whatever, but there was such a sense of patriotism when they did the tribute and the USA chants. And honestly, I think what's missing in this country, what's up, Soons? I think what's missing in this country when it comes to patriotism is the fact that it's all marketing. The left has found a way to make American pride uncool. So it's like you've got the Make America Think Again. You got Make America Great Again. You got Keep America. Really, it's make patriotism cool again. That is, if we can, to brand it to the younger generation, like I was in college. For me, even though I was not a conservative then, and I disliked George Bush very much, I loved my country. Regardless, and I think that's the difference back then with Democrats and Republicans. People still, for the most part, love their country, but they have found a way systemically to break down the quote-unquote cool factor of being a patriot. You look like a boomer. You look like a Karen that, whatever, that doesn't like people of different races. They found a way to make it cool, and I realized that day we're not that far off, but we're losing. We're losing the game, but there's still... There's a little bit of a stretch left for a comeback. And all I can say is it was harder for me than any other 9/11 since probably like 2003 or 2004 when it was still fresh, because it made me depressed that I was missing the country that we were and how we can get back to it. But then the next day there was so much American pride on Facebook and social media and all these. I'm like, okay, it's there. We're not that far off. We seem like we're further off than we are. And it's just an interesting day. Suni, we're talking about our 9/11 experience, and we get into the show. Go ahead. What was your experience this year? Suni, you're muted. Oh, that's what we need. That's a shirt we need to make, Casey. Suni, you're muted.
Suni, you're muted. Yeah.
You're still muted.
That better be a shirt.
You're so funny. You said, what was my experience like this year with 9/11?
Yeah, again, you don't live in the United States, so it's obviously very different. But in terms of, obviously you're married to a service member. Like, what's your experience with 9/11?
Well, you guys called me on 9/11. We were having worship. Like every Saturday we have worship where just read the Bible. We tell the kids about different stories in the Bible. But 9/11 this year, any other year, it's not like, oh my gosh, 9/11, to where I get sad. I tend to just like give a moment of silence. Sometimes I'll watch documentaries, look at old news articles, or just look at old videos. I think I was in like the 3rd or the 4th grade when it actually happened. And I remember like school shut down. They sent everybody home. We didn't go to school for like a week in my town. Yeah. But this year was different. This year is different because I watched the speeches that took place this year, and it was just gross. It was gross.
Especially Kamala's.
Yeah. The way George Bush spoke was just, I don't know. It's kind of like, how dare you? You're responsible for a lot of this aftermath, and how dare you then try to like flip it on Americans and say, well, we're dealing with the same thing here, domestic. It was just a slap in the face to so many families. They took this opportunity to attack Americans instead of just remembering what actually happened. So for me, this year was kind of like it made me angry. People probably could see my posts. It made me mad.
Yeah.
That they took so much time to like not actually remember 9/11, but compare it to. I saw many people compare this to COVID. That was another thing that just really, I'm like,
every day's a 9/11.
How do you?
If you want to compare it to COVID, then why aren't we allowed to talk about the Chinese involvement? Because
Exactly.
technically that's the only conversation. Instead, they're blaming. We have managed to find a way to not blame anything on China, which is still mind-boggling. And if there is any, so you had the 9/11 correlation about racism that Kamala made. You had the as you said, the COVID comparison, and it's like it's such a weird country what we allow and don't allow. Suni, did you see, before we move on from 9/11, did you see the kid in? I'm sorry, he's not a kid. He's a grown man that made a really shitty decision at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. Did you hear about this?
No, what happened?
So there was the amount of flags of people that died in 9/11 set out by their Republican chapter, their conservative chapter, and this kid was videotaped at 6 a.m. in the morning, putting all of them in trash bags. And you're like, what are you doing? He's like, don't videotape me. I feel uncomfortable. And instead of like even making up a lie, he did a whole explanation about how his life is being threatened, which who knows, and talking about it. He was trying to do a moment, because he's Muslim, that he was showing what all happened, and he was going to put the trash bags and write on them about all the racism and hate against Muslims, and that was what he was going to do. So and this was something that people are like, okay, that was wrong, but no, that is.
There's
I'm
no
sorry.
but.
There's no but.
First of all, he probably wasn't even born when it happened.
Exactly.
Muslims are not. They're probably the most protected group in America outside of Transformers and Alphabet Gang. So I don't know. See, like I don't have tolerance or patience for stuff like that. I'll probably stuff like that would make me want to put hands on somebody. Like I'm gonna give you the ass whooping your mama did. You let me catch you doing that.
So I know that people hate when I read through this really fast, but his statement made it even worse, and it's 3 very short pages. No, it's really, this will take a minute. His name is Fidel Al-Khalani. Whatever. Currently, there's massive harassment campaign propagated primarily by WashU's college Republicans, yada, yada, yada. There's a large amount of misinformation circulating, which there wasn't, and I seek to explain both and why it happened. The misinformation is currently circulating on YAF's page that states, I was stealing the flags. This was due to WashU's college Republicans member taking a video of me collecting the flags in plastic bags. Remember, before the tribute could be done. However, I had no intention of removing the flags from the Mudfield area, and my full protest did not have the chance to be actualized. My planned protest was to place the bags of flags on Mudfield, along with various statistics, including those below, explaining the human cost of 9/11 in the past 20 years. On the sides of the bags, some writing may be visible, but the statement was not outlined in the time. Let's see. I did not deface, destroy, or damage, nor steal any flags. Technically, you did. You were relocating. If I
Sounds
take
like
somebody's
you picked
car,
up property. Yeah.
right. If I take up somebody's car and move it, that's not relocating.
Stealing.
That's stealing. Exactly.
Right.
And he just
Can
talked
I
about
make
his.
an observation really quick?
Yeah.
He's talking about the aftermath of 9/11. Look, I'll play semantics here because I have a whole theory about 9/11. Your people came to our country to kill our citizens. We didn't come to your country to purposely kill your citizens. So if anybody was being exhibiting racism or hatred, it was the people who came here to take over airplanes. I just think people just need to go ahead and flip it. Like, dude, your people came here. At the end of the day, what do you like? What racism came out of that? If anything, more Americans actually became more tolerant.
Yeah, this is the last thing he said, because how he spun it. He goes, Muslims such as I have faced fear, harassment, and Islamophobia from those who unjustly use the victims of 9/11 as political cudgel. Those who died during 9/11 deserve better than to be used as a political tool by those who seek to excuse American imperialism and Islamophobia. That's what he was doing. He was using it as a political tool. He was taking the tribute to thousands of lives, a tribute not to what our government did, but to thousands of lives, putting them in a trash bag to use for a political bullshit stunt. And this is a gentleman that goes to one of the top universities in the country that has that privilege, and this is his issue. It's absolute garbage.
And it's like, at the end of the day, like even if it's not your people, because if you're not, there's a lot of Muslims that were also very embarrassed by what happened on 9/11, right? Because that is a really
very
bad
much so.
look. Like there was 19 hijackers that were involved. I would say the bigger crime is that, you know, we traded 3,000 American lives for 1 million innocent lives over in the Middle East. And like, I can understand the argument that there is a political tool here because, again, there our representatives, people like Condoleezza Rice, George Bush, they directly lied to us and still lie to us to this day. But like the people you're protesting there, they're not the government. They're not Condoleezza Rice or George Bush. These are people whose sole understanding is that we lost 3,000 innocent Americans that day. There were good people lost that day. There were firemen, there were first responders everywhere. Like it was whether the American government's response to 9/11 is separate from the American people's response to 9/11. And he is disrespecting our response to 9/11 and his attempt to disrespect the government. You want to go do that? Go to the White House and pull their flags up out of the lawn, right? Like go to the Capitol Hill, whatever.
Go to George Bush's house.
Yeah, exactly. But like, if you're going to
don't really do that. We're on a very thin line. Don't actually do anything like that.
Don't actually go do anything. But if you're going to protest the people that actually committed the wrongs, and that comes down to being the problem nowadays is that they're just so hateful of people like us that we become the target because they hated government actions.
Yeah.
Well, just remember, if you take it to the people that did the wrong, you just get called an insurrectionist.
Oh yeah, exactly. There was only one person smart enough to vote against going into Iraq and Afghanistan. Neither country actually participated in the attacks. So,
what was her name?
I think it was she was a congresswoman from California, something Brown, I think. Barbara Lee.
I just had a conversation at lunch today with a buddy of mine talking about her. Funny enough. Granted, with the information that we had. They at least had, I would have said go in, but we all know that.
Well, they were getting information from the Taliban leading into it that said, hey, there's an attack coming. There's an attack coming. There's an attack coming. Because one of the 9/11 hijackers, he was one of the two that went to Miami, one of the two that the CIA was actually tracking coming into the country that these are potential terrorists, never gave that information on to any other agency. One of them went back to Afghanistan prior to the attacks and started talking about it. Taliban overheard it, came to the American embassy in Afghanistan and said, hey, they're planning an attack on American soil in the next couple months. And the embassy was like, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's do this. Let's get into the show. Suni, quick rundown. And for the people that just joined, couple things. We talked about what's going on in the store that you can click on that, awakenotwoke.myshopify.com / there is no / just click on that. Coupon code is wake up. Suni's got new shirts in there. We've only got one image to share, but she's got a few shirts. We've got that. Unvaccinated Lives Matter. I will not live in fear. Black flag. Impeach Biden. Fire Kamala. Retire Pelosi. A lot of red there. Okay, moving on. So you guys know the code. That's the honest to God. People in the comment box have already said, like, how can you help? What can you do? And people have said, it's a great speaking point. I cannot wait to wear my Unvaccinated Lives Matter shirt in a store. Can't wait for the looks on that one. Anyways, Suni, on this show, we're talking about the Predator drone in Afghanistan, which is where we're going to start. We're going to talk about AOC taxing the rich, Black National Anthem at every NFL game. Math of the I've got this math on the V word that I'll go very quickly on. And news failure in terms of asking for stories of UnV'd people. And they ended up getting quite of not what they wanted. Anyways, guys, if you didn't notice, we got a decent amount of thumbs and hearts. We don't have a ton of people watching. We're right around 100, which is less than usual. Why? We don't have a YouTube page. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Which, again, I thought it was a great show. It's still up on Facebook, to be honest. And honestly, I contested it. It was a great conversation Kevin had between him and a conspiracy theorist. And honestly, I thought you did. I thought both of you guys did a great job, and there was nothing in there that was hate speech, as they put it, which is
that wasn't even the craziest shit. He and I have had conversations where he legitimately thinks the moon is made out of plasma. So there's crazier stuff down the line too.
For that, knowing that now, he did a pretty good job. A couple times, I was pretty interested in what he was saying. But it was a good episode.
He asked good questions.
So we can put it to rest that I'm the dangerous one here, because Kevin actually got our YouTube taken down.
We all watched. Casey, me, and Eric watched it, and honestly, I don't know. I don't know what did it. I have no idea. God, this sty keeps
I
getting
think
bigger.
it was a sensitive subject on a sensitive day.
Yeah,
and
that's the problem.
there were
But
some
it-
things that's questionable, but it's not really
Well,
hate speech of what it was flagged for.
The thing is,
Yeah.
is he does that every year. This is the first year that I was like, well, I would like to actually challenge it because I disagree I disagree on your premise kind of deal. So it was like, you know what? If it's a good time to actually combat the conspiracy theories, but it gets even to a larger point where you're not even allowed to start asking any kind of questions, no matter
No.
how preposterous. If it's a preposterous question, what's the problem in asking it? Right? Like,
Yeah.
but
I what I noticed was he had an answer for you, then you had an answer for him, and when he ran out of answers, he said, "Well, that's just not true. I disagree with that."
Yeah.
So that's when you win. But you guys both did a great job. I thought it was a good show. I was interested. So here's the deal. Let's start with the drone. So Suni, Casey, Josie, Wales, Kevin. There is the news. Remember, the big thing, which we don't see anymore, is that Biden struck back. Right? He struck back. We got 2 of the bombers, etc. Has there been any mainstream news, but a little bit on Fox, talking about the fact that these were innocent people? We got nobody.
I did a show on it. I know. I don't know.
Suni did. Yeah, go ahead, Suni.
I did a show on it. Actually, I think I was probably one of the first people to share that.
Well, I know you and I
story
talked about
from Times News. Like, first of all, this falls on military intelligence, 100%.
Hey, now.
It does. Sorry. How do you
totally does.
How do you intercept? Or look, this is their story. Well, we knew it was him because we intercepted their talk, and it was a white Toyota. But when you see the actual car that they're talking about, you can visibly see the bombs and the missiles in the back of the car. How can you not tell between plastic canisters full of water and bombs? Oh, we thought the plastic was plastic bombs wrapped up, and it was actually these men carrying their laptops in and out to actually go to work. And here's the kicker. They were actually USA aides. They worked for a US company.
Imagine Santa Claus.
There is no, hey, we got this wrong. Yo, we need to apologize to these families. Like, we've screwed up royally. The intelligence is they're still going with the lie. There was a secondary explosion. No, there wasn't. No,
imagine if Santa Claus was like, yo, instead of coal, y'all are getting drone strikes from now on. Like, that's basically what it was. Here's your reward for helping America. By the way, Suni, you and I were both wrong. I think I said 5 children were killed, and I think you said it was 4. Yeah, it was 7. It was even more than we thought. This is just a great representation of what the American government has been doing over in the Middle East for years. Like,
no repercussions.
They don't do any fact checking. I have seen missions greenlit for drone strikes on families. Like, they don't care. Like,
all the time. There's so many on YouTube. It's not even funny. You can watch actual drone strikes on families. As
long as they think there's one bad guy there, they could have 17 children around them. They won't give a crap. You're getting greenlit to drop the bomb. As a person who has witnessed it personally, like,
it's sad, man. It's sad, and it is ridiculous that only Fox News is talking about it. But again, it makes it look like propaganda. This is coming from right-wing media, and they just want to make Biden look bad. And it's like, no, I'm not even looking at Biden on this. I'm looking at military intelligence. You guys screwed up royally.
Right. I will say, like, one of the problems with the military intel side is when they give you a target package and they give you names, they just tell you, like, the assumption is these guys are bad guys. That's the only reason why these names are on my desk. Like, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but during the entire Afghanistan campaign, the tribal leaders realized really early on, all you have to do is say that one of your rivals is a member of the Taliban, regardless of if they are or not, and that guy's getting drone strikes. Like, you don't.
Another fun fact.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know if you guys knew this. Another fun fact. They blamed this entire plot and scheme on ISIS when it was in a Taliban stronghold with Taliban members talking back and forth. There was no ISIS there.
They do have, there is ISIS cells over there, except what they fail to mention is that if ISIS members enter Taliban-controlled area, they get beheaded. Like, Taliban does not like ISIS, because ISIS kills Muslims, and Taliban is not necessarily a fan of that, and neither is Al-Qaeda, although they both do it. But it's like, yo, we know that you just killed an entire family of innocents, and but you can't admit failure. There is no allowance to admit failure. There's no accountability that's ever going to be brought upon them. They know they're never going to have to answer questions to any of the media that they allow in the door. The media is just going to play cover for it. That's why, if you guys are actually interested in what's going on, Scott Horton is the best source for this stuff there is, because this is not the first occurrence. This is just the most obvious occurrence because it happened at the most high profile time. We're still doing this stuff in Yemen. We're still doing this stuff in Syria. We're still doing this stuff in Iraq. We're still doing this stuff in Djibouti and Nigeria and Kenya and Somalia. We are still doing these drone strikes on innocent people all over the fucking world. There's been over 1 million people that are innocent people. 1 million innocent people have been killed since we have started our campaign against global terrorism. It's like, at what point are we just as bad? You know.
But my question is, like, people wonder why they hate America. It's because we lie about shit like this. Like that. I mean, that's I don't agree with lying about America, obviously. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't like people that dislike America. But some of these countries have reasons, because for decades we have done this. We've done these. There was how many? There's disputing accounts, but we're seeing it's 10 civilians also were killed in this, including the 2 men that should not have been killed. Yep. Some children, what we heard allegedly. And there hasn't been a single statement since Biden said, "We got him."
Yeah.
Well, intelligence is they've been talking. Yeah. If you watch sometimes if you watch Fox Business and Fox News, you'll see intelligence come on, and I can show you different clips of them just blatantly. They just outright deny it. They get questioned. Like,
but this is Fox News, which are already people that think that Biden can do no right. So they're already assuming that was a bullshit strike, which we were right upon. But now I guarantee you, if we asked anybody that does not watch, that doesn't follow our page, that literally is the type people that only watch CNN, MSNBC, or claim to only look at social media, they are literally going to think right now, like, I want to do a man on the street quiz. Do you think that we struck back after that? And I will tell you, it's 99+% will say yes, not knowing that we killed innocent people.
I want to give you guys a definition here. Militant, right? Every time they do a drone strike, they say they kill militants. What is the definition of a militant? It is a military-age male in the vicinity of a bomb strike. That is what a militant is. So when they're killing militants, it's a very easy definition switch that they used because they kept killing innocent people. So they just changed the definition of militant. So when they say we killed 25 militants, they might have killed 2 actual members of a terrorist organization and 23 kids over the age of 13. They're all militants. They're all military age. So we killed militants. That's all that matters. So there has been the American government that has been, is being controlled by very corrupt people. The military industrial complex has been committing these acts. They use this justification to I cannot express enough just how many terrible things we have left in our wake. For every one person we end up killing over there, because of the way in which we do it, we end up creating 10 more people that want to fight against us, because rather than kill an actual member of Al-Qaeda, what we do is we bomb a fucking village, kill their elders, kill their mothers, kill their children, and then we get surprised when the rest of that village decides they hate us.
Yeah. Suni, go ahead.
We were talking about news outlets. The first person to drop this story was New York Times.
Yeah.
They're extremely liberal.
Of course,
there's a good reason for that.
Kevin, let Suni talk.
I apologize. I'm sorry, Suni. That's my bad.
No, I mean,
apologize.
I don't know. I think we have to, when it comes to like us as influencers, I've looked past which media outlets are talking about it, and I just take it upon myself to say, look, this is what's happening. You're not going to get it on all your news sources because, let's face it, Fox News spills out just as much propaganda as CNN.
Yep.
Right,
Fox News is great.
Right Side Media. What's the other one?
Perfect.
OAN, Newsmax. They all spill out.
MSNBC.
propaganda.
They're all terrible.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's brutal. I figured out really quick. I figured out why on a lot of episodes you get cut off. I just figured it out. So
It's me.
you have a perfect cadence
Yes.
where you have the weed smoker cadence that is literally like, but still it's like you have dramatic pauses. You're like,
Yeah,
see,
and I'm like,
what I
and I'm
think.
waiting for the pause.
I
And I'm
don't.
like,
I just did a
I'm
SUNY
sorry.
pause and he jumped in. So
Exactly.
it's
I did it to express a point there.
It's all right. I excite
I'm
the
sorry.
conversation so much that people are just like, I need to say what I need to say. I understand.
I apologize, Cindy. I didn't mean to interrupt there. What I wanted to say is why is it that a crumbling economy didn't get the leftist media to turn on him? Why is it that all the stuff that has come up until his withdrawal from Afghanistan didn't get them to turn against him? Why was it that him withdrawing from a war is what finally got the leftist media to turn against Joe Biden? Maybe it has something to do. Yeah, maybe it has a lot to do with the fact that there is a military-industrial complex, and a lot of these leftist liberals are all about the war, spreading the democracy, saving people. Like when you're in the corporate media world and you're getting a lot of bucks, there's a lot of money in. Why is it that every time CNN is talking about our time in Afghanistan, it's always somebody who is a former general, former officer, former sergeant, former something? They always bring on members of the military-industrial complex to talk about it. And so it's like there is
Barbara's talking shit.
Yeah, no, it's true. I apologize. Okay, I am sorry.
Oh, this is great. It's pouring in. Kevin, I think you're great. You just you do like to talk over Sue. It's okay.
I don't mean to. She has those great, wonderful Obama pauses, and I just like.
Oh, that's
Are you saying that because she's black?
Because
why is it that the Obama's half white, bro? Like, excuse me here.
So am I.
Okay, well then this has nothing to do with race at that point.
All
it was, but
all right, let's get off the Predator, Joan. We got a lot of stuff to cover real fast. We want to try to make this under an hour 15. Let's go to speaking of racism. Got to make sure Suni's here for this part. Just kidding. Black National Anthem played at every NFL game this year. I thought the virtue signaling was going to be gone. I saw some stuff in the end zone in Charlotte that was like "Together we stand," whatever the hell it is. So the Social Justice Warrior League the NFL had the option to drop this bullshit when they saw what happened to NBA's ratings and all this different stuff, and here we are. So who wants to go first? Not you, Kevin. Not you. Casey or Suni. Who wants to talk about the Black
discriminated against
National Anthem? No, that was ageism, actually. You're too young to have this conversation. All right, just kidding. Go, Suni or Casey.
Well, Suni, go.
Look, I think it's divisive. I think it plays into the narrative that Black people don't belong in this country, which is what they already believe based on narratives pushed not only by liberal media, but the Democrat Party. And Republicans don't do any better of a job making people feel included because they don't speak up when they need to speak up. So this is just all the more reason. And I think I said this months ago, that this stuff is going to continue. It's never going to stop. I can't remember what we were talking about, but it had something to do with racism and why this is continuing, because they need to divide the country. All right.
Yeah.
This is going to make Black people feel like we're finally included because we have our own national anthem, even though it's never been our own national anthem. I didn't grow up singing this. My mother never taught me this song. My father never taught me this song. It's just propaganda, man. It's BS. And I love football. You don't understand. I am the biggest football fan on the planet. And I refuse to watch a game because I don't want to see this shit. I don't. Like, what's the point? You got two different national anthems. For what?
It's funny.
We all live in one country.
What's funny, Suni, is you talk about, this gives the opportunity for Black people to be like, we're finally getting a voice, which is really funny because in two of the stadiums in the country, you can't enter without a V card and not virginity. And the least V-worded demographic is Black people, so they can't even go to a game in Las Vegas or New Orleans, which very high percentage demographic of Black people in New Orleans. So they're actually discriminating Black people from going in games along with other people, and now this is you can't.
They don't even realize it, man. I'm telling you, everything is a symbol to Black folks. One day, I'm gonna bring you and Casey around the ratchet side of my family. I'm gonna bring you guys to a barbecue so
You don't
you can
trust me?
see.
No, because you're going to talk
absolutely
over
not.
everybody. You'll get shot at
No.
this party. She said ratchet. You talk over some motherfuckers, and they're going to be like, who's this white dude that won't shut the hell up?
You think
Right.
you think I
Like,
can't
yo,
fit
why
in
you
it?
bring him? And he'll say it in front of your face. Like, why'd you bring this dude, man?
Do you not
Shut
think
your
I
ass
can
up.
handle the ratchet? Okay, I am perfectly capable of being around the ratchet house parties. All right, I know what
Hey.
I'm doing.
Hey, guys, are we getting turned or what? What's going on?
Let's get litty, boys. Let's get litty.
Casey,
Like
you're a big football fan. What do you think?
So I did see the national anthem being played. Of course, I didn't really pay much of attention to it. Well, their national anthem, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Who's there?
The black national anthem. But the part that I'm intrigued by, because this claim was said last year, but it was not televised. It was not put on TV.
Right.
And so that's why last 2 weeks ago we had this conversation. Is it still happening?
Yeah,
and I said
wasn't.
no. So I'm curious. This is the first week, so you always have big events. They played a pre-recorded of the song on the billboards, whatever boards you want to call it, in the stadiums. I'm curious to see if they keep doing that. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, and if it's going to be broadcast. I'm disappointed in it. I'm disappointed in it. I don't want to see it. We are one nation under one flag, period. There shouldn't be any more than one flag. That's where when the Confederate flag was being taken down, I'm like, I could get away with that. There's
Well,
still
it's an anthem. It's still one flag. I don't know. It's
That's
still
what I'm getting
confusing.
to. It's same with the anthem. We only have one national anthem. We're not two nations. We're one nation.
Yeah.
And so it's all the same stuff. And we'll see what's going to happen. I'm still going to watch it and see how bad they push the agenda. I don't know if it's going to continue, but we'll have to see.
All right, Kevin, now you can speak.
As a card carrying holder of the NFL Sunday ticket because of my undying love for football.
Why do you pay for that?
Yeah, I was gonna say broke college student my ass. Jeez.
Because they have a college student rate. It's like
man, you can get it for free $99.
It's,
all right,
it's 20,
all you got to do is pull
$20
up on a streaming site.
Yeah, but do you not see this wonderful setup I have behind me, surround sound, all that stuff?
It looks that looks like these NFL Sunday ticket to never get laid. That's what your living room looks like.
Yes,
right
and that doesn't bother me. I'm a good Christian conservative boy, Anthony. I am waiting till marriage. How dare you?
Okay. I gotta ask, actually. Hold on, wait. Time out.
Yeah.
How did the date? You had a date this weekend. I have to stop the presses. We're
really not talking about that, okay?
Is she watching? Is she watching?
She's probably,
right now?
I'm pretty sure she is. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Suni's about to get in. Look at so how did the date? If she's watching the show, she must have actually been fooled to think that she might like you.
No, dude. Okay, well, if we're gonna do this, if you're gonna put me on the spot like this, this is wonderful. Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. It was wonderful, in all honesty. Yeah. I'm just gonna assume she's watching, but it was honestly wonderful. I had a great time. It's great to meet people that share your values, share your ideas, share your there's. As you age, you realize, and I don't know if you've gotten there yet, Anthony, because as we all know, you're still trying to, harness that inner convertible side of you.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great time. We almost got killed by a thunderstorm, so that was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, no. In
Please
Colorado,
tell me how you get killed by a thunderstorm.
A lightning storm. Sorry.
Do you need a thunder buddy for life or something?
So you guys have never been in a Colorado lightning storm. It is insane. First and foremost, right?
I'm one state over.
Legit, over ahead of us. I was getting a little bit worried. I'll be honest. No, it was it was a great time. But I want to get back to the NFL because fuck you. And so
go ahead, because I've got something funny that I got to talk about with the lightning storm after this. Go ahead.
God damn you.
No, go ahead. Somebody's blushing. Somebody looks red.
This is the reddest you'll ever see me because normally I'm almost brown enough to start being considered a minority.
No, not even close.
No.
I didn't do that. I didn't.
That was your cue, buddy.
I'll figure out who did it.
Ain't nobody minority on this screen but me, sir. I'm literally the minority because I'm the only woman on the screen.
Oh God, that was funny. All right.
But anyways,
All right,
to get to the NFL, I don't tune into to these things until halfway through the first quarter at this point, because I'm like, first and foremost, I refuse to give these people the power to take away my joys in life. I refuse to give them the authority over me to take away what I enjoy about my life. If you're going to be putting the stuff in there, I'm not going to pay attention, because if you're going to be doing that, I'm not going to care, right? So it's like, put whatever you want on your jersey. I don't care. What I care about is my love for football. I'm going to ignore all your posturing, because at the end of the day, football is not yours to steal from me. And when people try to steal things from me, I get defensive about it, as you should. So when I'm looking at, because like,
God, I hope she's watching right now, because
she is 100%.
You're giving some red flags like you have never seen before.
So I'm gonna like call you out on your bullshit right quick.
Let's go.
Call me.
You don't like people. You don't like what they do, so you don't watch until the first quarter or the first half is pretty much over. But you're still paying for services. Yeah,
because at the end of the day, like, me doing that, like, there's enough people that are going to care enough to stop it, right? And at the end of the day, a lot of these NFL players are trying to push up really good organizations within their communities. They're taking this opportunity to talk about local community-led organizations. They're taking these opportunities to sponsor really important operations. It's like the LeBron James conundrum, right? What he says, I hate with a passion, but what he does, I think, is outstanding. I think that the man has been nothing but a faithful father. He has done he built schools within his community.
You don't know he's been a faithful father.
His schools are no different than any public school operating right now. So that school means nothing because they have the same curriculum.
It has a similar curriculum, but it is privately run, privately funded, privately operated. And the students that are going to that school are getting a markedly better education than students that are going to other comparable schools within those school districts. And that's why it's a conundrum, because I absolutely detest what he says out loud, but I'm a man that believes actions speak louder than words. And unfortunately, it's one of those situations where his words actually have enough power behind them to instigate actions I do not support. So it's like, I love sports too much. I get too much joy out of sports to give it up. Like right here, right behind me is nothing but all the sports teams I absolutely adore, because like that's how important it is to me. And I am the kind of person that that I look at it like people, when they try to steal what you enjoy, it's like, I just ignore you. Screw you. I ignore you. I don't listen to you. I don't care what you're having to say. I'm going to enjoy my football without you. I'm not going to watch. But now I'm just not watching either national anthem at this point.
Yo,
yeah, I get it.
They know me.
But it's just a different approach. It's like, I would stop watching, but fuck them. I'm going to keep watching.
So the other last thing, and then we're moving on, because it's just the Black National Anthem. We shouldn't be giving it that much time. But the interesting thing is, my question becomes, what you're paying is actually to one of the broadband companies, which I know, DirecTV, whatever.
They don't show any of that, by the way. Like, they don't show any of it.
Right, I get it. But if we talk about how do you make a difference, with your dollar. So here's the interesting thing is, usually it's a set contract at the beginning of the year that the NFL gets from them, and it's not per viewer, but that helps them negotiate in the future. So there might be an indirect way you can weasel your way out of an excuse on this one if you would really like to get mathematical. Now,
I know I'm being hypocritical. I am well aware that I should be speaking with my dollar and not paying for it, but I just personally refuse to do it.
Talk to Suni. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So look, I'm just gonna be honest, man. Mm-hmm. This is a problem with so many Americans, and this is why
I agree.
We won't ever make any real change, because people are spoiled. I like this, I like that, which makes me think the problems that are in our country aren't that important. Look, we stopped ordering off Amazon. Okay, I live in a foreign country that doesn't have half of the stuff I like here, but Amazon is done. Because Amazon is requiring unconstitutional things for Americans. I'm not going to support that.
Yeah.
We don't watch football. We don't watch basketball. I grew up in a sports-driven family. Yeah. This is something that I enjoy. But if little old me can inspire other people to let go of stuff that honestly doesn't matter when you're looking at the grand scheme of things you're fighting against, maybe, just maybe, there would be something to change in this country. But
Yeah.
because we're selfish. We
Yeah.
are selfish people and we're spoiled and we've never had to fight for anything. That's
You're right.
why a part of me is hoping shit hits the fan so people can have the living crap scared out of them
Yeah.
to
No, and
understand what's
I-
at risk here.
So for me, it's kind of like picking and choosing where what hill I'm going to die on. Like the NFL isn't going to go anywhere. Like me not watching it. Because like again, DirecTV has 0 ads. They're not making any ad revenue off of what I do. And if the reason why I'm choosing DirecTV is to avoid all the social justice ads, that actually says something to the NFL to an extent. Because while I pay for it because I have an edu.edu, only DirecTV customers have access to it. Everybody else who's not on DirecTV is going to have a different level of access, and the NFL is seeing it. I don't watch the NBA at this point just because it's gotten boring.
It's also shitty. The NBA is shitty to watch.
Yeah,
it's not as good as it used to be.
It sucks.
I stopped watching sports for the most part because I mean it's become social justice warriors. Moving on. All right. So we got a couple things left. We'll talk about the AOC tax, Rich. But funny enough, you brought up lightning strikes. So there's a lot of math that's coming out of the vid. And
she is watching, by the way.
Is she, oh, did she text you? Oh gosh, that's embarrassing. All right, hold on.
Him get his ass handed to him.
Hold on.
No, I'm not. She's way cooler
Yes,
than
you
that.
are.
Okay. No,
Listen,
she's way better.
I'm giving it to you. It's all right. You ain't got to admit
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. You get me. Okay, you are. Yeah. Fuck you.
Anyways, God, this is good. This is so good. All right, so here's the deal. So this guy, this is, and as much as I hate using the word liberal, but I like the phrasing, liberal logic. Somebody had, I had a video that went relatively viral, and I've commented on a couple different things, and somebody was telling me how ridiculous my numbers are. So they said, I responded back to somebody with how frequently that somebody V'd gets a breakthrough case, not goes to the hospital, but we're just talking cases. So I used the reference of 1 out of 5,000, which is what Biden gave and which I have information from New York Times on September 7th. That is, we're saying 1 in 5,000 per day, which sounds like, oh my God, that actually means based on the math of 176 million people, that's 35,200 per day. So what he actually was then saying, he goes, and I tried explaining to him at the end of it, I said, you're not equipped to have this conversation, unfortunately. I explained that this has a day, that it's 1 out of 5,000 is compounding. So tomorrow, that means it's 2 out of 5,000, then it's 3 out of 5,000, then it's 4. That's how this works, which means by a certain date, we're going to be to a number, and I shared it with Casey before the show, the current total. And by the way, he didn't understand that because he then goes, so you're saying because, he goes, let me figure this out. It's 1 in 500,000 chance it says that I can get struck by lightning. And if I use your logic, that means by the time if I live 70 years, it'll be like 1 in 12. And I was like, okay, so the statistic that they give is 1 out of 500,000 chance in a lifetime. I'm telling you that this is you're not equipped to have this conversation. But fun fact, I got to tell you this. So based on the numbers from the day that we started recording COVID data to now, it's 1 out of every 8 Americans has contracted COVID, or until whatever, unvaccinated to vaccinated. So if you continue the logic of 1 out of 5,000 people every day, if you go all the way into this exact same time, 18 months later, you ready for this? It would be 1 out of 10 vaccinated people would have a breakthrough case.
Yeah.
Meaning it's almost no different. And that's also looking at the fact that we've got people with natural immunity already, and this is not including how much it wanes. So take away hospitalizations. The math shows that in the end, it's the same as... Anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's just so many contradictions in how they're presenting this, right? It's like 1 out of every 5,000 vaccinated people have a breakthrough case, but 1 out of every 160,000 will be hospitalized. So You're seeing a dramatically lower rate because this time, or at the peak last year, the hospitalization rate for people over the age of 65 was 71.9 per 100,000. That number is now 26 point something out of every 100,000. So that number has almost been cut in a third. The overall hospitalization rate has been cut in half. Jesus Christ. for all that like has been cut in half. He's saying in his speech, because like I'm trying to write this article. I ended up doing so much turning point stuff today that I had zero time to do it yet today. But he at one point he says they're trying to protect the unvaccinated, and then he says later they're trying to protect the vaccinated from the unvaccinated. There's no consistency in the messaging whatsoever. Just how about you just acknowledge, hey, the vaccine is meant to make it so you don't die. You're going to get it, but now it's not going to kill you, kind of deal. Now it's not going to hospitalize you. But if they admit that part, right, then they must also acknowledge, okay, and then if you're unvaccinated and you know all of this stuff, UnV'd, sorry.
I said it, it's fine.
Like, okay, like risk is yours. It's the refusal to allow us to take our own risks, make our own decisions on this kind of stuff. Because if the argument is going to be that the unvaccinated pose a risk to the vaccinated, that must then mean necessarily that the vaccine doesn't work. But it does work to an extent. They just lie about how it works.
It does work. It works so well. It's the greatest thing
that they
ever
have to
created.
put a gun to your head to tell you to take it.
And then they give you a donut. Okay.
But, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah. Is that your girl? Is Jessica the one you went on the date with? Okay.
No.
Right.
Jesus Christ! Stop trying to find this shit. Okay.
It's a good diversion. All right, let's move on because we got a couple more things. Let's get close here. So we'll do one more COVID thing, which is the MTA. So did I actually have the article? No, I got the article on my phone. The MTA out of New York. So this is also very interesting, and I want your guys' feedback on this one. MTA. Let's see. Will withhold death benefits from workers. This is a real story. This is New York Times. They've gotten under the radar without letting people know because this started in June. The authority, which runs New York City subways, buses, commuter trains, has provided $500,000 benefit to all of its 68,000 employees if they were to die from COVID, right? That started last year. But in April, as vaccines became widely available, the authority decided that starting in June, the benefit would only be available to families of employees who had been vaccinated. Let's remember Bill de Blasio and Cuomo were out there, so they got to do whatever they wanted. And now, obviously, they could probably find a way to do it, and Biden will probably go along with it. So they had to use it 171 times. So a little over 2% of the 68,000 had passed away from COVID, slightly above the national average. So that's what they do. Interestingly enough, they've done it. They've had to since June. They've paid it out 3 times, and that's it. Can I ask a question?
No.
So that means they've only, and based on the article, they've had 3 people in their organization that have passed away from COVID since June, and they've paid it. So that means that all 3 of them were V'd, and they died from COVID, and there's been no non-deaths.
You guys are just as aware of this as anybody else. Like, they are not tracking this. They are purposefully not tracking this so that they don't have data to actually put out there. They are intentionally obfuscating the data coming in so that people like us, do not have the data to present an argument against it. It is all about power.
That's so my question becomes, we've talked about mandating it for work, whatever. We've talked about what they say. So Casey, I will start with you. What do you think of them being able to withhold death benefits compared to the V'd and UnV'd? So essentially forcing them, if you want to get a $500,000 payout if you die, you have to be V'd. What do you think?
I think it's unconstitutional and not law. It's not fair.
Yeah.
And this is a sensitive topic for me today because my wife got an email pretty much implying what we've been talking about before today, that we're going to have to fight over her being mandated to get the vaccine, which is kind of stupid. But yeah,
she works from home.
She works from home. And because it's across the whole organization, she is getting told she has to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been emailing a whole bunch of people and lawyers today to deal with that. But overall, it's not constitutional. It's not what America's about. America is about freedom and allowing people to make decisions and do what they feel is best for them. And they can consult with a doctor to get professional advice on if that is the best thing for them. It is not the government's place. It is not the employer's place. It is not your religion's place to go out and tell you you have to go and get it, or you should go and get it. Now, you should be looking at for your religious reasons. There could be reasons why you don't get it, but they shouldn't tell you you should go get it because it's a good thing to do. All of those things. And so all of that just coming back to where we are with America, it just pisses me off. And I have been there, Gina. I've already contacted them. But it's really frustrating and it's unfortunate. And this is going to impact a lot of people, and it's going to keep getting worse because employers believe that this is the best thing to do. And it's really not.
Because they're brainwashed. I don't want to say brainwashed. They have, because we all have the active chance to make a decision. They have been force-fed the same information that make people go, oh, 1 in 5,000. They don't do the math. Go ahead, Kevin, then Suni, and then we'll go on to AOC, and then we'll be pretty much time to wrap.
Well, they operate on logical fallacies, and the number one logical fallacy they use is an appeal to authority. And so they do it in their own life. They delegate the research and the understanding and the decision making to other people. In this case, the government. I delegate that to my doctor because I trust my doctor, but they delegate it to CNN and MSNBC. So they operate off the logical fallacy at all times of appealing to authority. This person holds this position. So what they say goes. It's like, no, that's a logical fallacy because them holding that position does not mean that they know what they're talking about.
Unfortunately, doctors do the same. A lot of, and they're doing that. And it's not because I'm smarter than them. I'm not trying to say they're wrong. I'm trying to say that doctors are not as data driven as researchers. Doctors
they don't have time.
No, doctors will say this is when they study books that say this is what you do. They don't look at the exact numbers. So what they're getting fed is what they're being told, unfortunately. And a lot of doctors that are into this, like, let me check on it, are saying you make the decision. You're younger, you're healthy, you do what you got to do. Suni, what do you think of a mandate saying you can't get death benefits from the vid if you're not vaccinated, and the fact that they kept it quiet for this long?
I guess I would flip it on. I'm going to flip it back on them. How are you calling for universal health care but willing to remove it from people who don't want to get
what about fat people?
Voluntary vaccine? Yeah, like fat people that smoke cancer sticks. I don't know. People that have diabetes. Like all these things they're preventable. You can not get diabetes. Like, you might be more prone to it, but there are ways to get around it. So how are you asking for universal health care and benefits and everything else, but because a person's not doing what you want them to be doing, hey, you're not going to get your death benefits, or we're going to cancel your insurance? I think it's whack. So like I said, I'm going to keep going back to Americans not doing their jobs. 100%. If Americans stood up and said, I'm not doing this, you're going to fire everybody? You're going to kick every kid out of school? You're going to do all that? Why don't we ever ask where the freak Republicans are? Yep. We spend so much time talking about Democrats, and I don't see one Republican stepping up to say anything.
Not at all.
These people sit back and just chill and be like, look what the Democrats are doing. Man, look at these liberals. Oh, this is crazy. This is unconstitutional. And they have no action behind it. So get busy.
Yeah.
Get busy.
100%.
I got so go ahead. Remind me overweight people, because I got a funny thing. Go ahead.
So according to the CDC, one person dies every 36 seconds from cardiovascular disease. And every year, COVID killed 614,000 people. What is the average, do you think, that die from heart disease, preventable heart disease every
last
single
year?
On average, not even in a COVID year where everyone's sitting at home and not being
about 500,000.
655,000. COVID in its worst year without vaccine did not touch heart disease.
You know what else they're doing? This is actually very interesting. So the other thing I noticed, so the new statistic about cases that are hospitalization breakthrough cases, there's a statistic that's blatant on there that now they're using. So it says 12,000 people are breakthrough in hospitals. But this is honest to God truth. But the real number, because 2,700 of these is people that are in the hospital for something else but tested positive for COVID. Bitch, we've been saying this for all the cases for a fucking year and a half, and now you want to use the thing that you're like, oh, you're full of shit. It's like, what the fuck? Anyways, so this is the great part. There's a guy that was arguing one of my points, and he go, because I said, there's controllable things like obesity and all these things, and he goes, there's a new study out that obesity is actually not under the control of the individual. And I said, cool, there is some genetic things that we're learning, but wait a second. You're telling me because I don't want to necessarily put my full trust in something with 8 months worth of data that you're now believing the fact they've researched obesity for 100 years and now they're changing it and now you're listening to that? Like, the logic is so freaking ridiculous. I can't.
Anthony, they're only fat because of the spoon.
Yes. Everybody just has different body types, right? Screw the laws of thermodynamics. Those don't matter. Everybody just has different body types. It's okay. It doesn't matter that if you take in more fuel than you use, you retain it.
We saw that.
No.
Yeah. Woosah. All right. Let's have a little laugh about our favorite politician that should still be bartending. Casey, you got that pick? Yeah, there it is. So AOC wore so there's reports that it was a $30,000 dress. That's fake news. I heard it's about $1,500, but she's going to the Met Gala wearing a tax the rich dress. It's about $1,500 at the most expensive ticket with the richest people, all liberal leftist Democrats that have all the money in the world. The irony cannot be lost in this, is it not? Anybody who wants to go first?
I will go first.
Why is she so stupid? She is the rich.
Yes.
You
1,000%.
are the rich. The representatives in this country, bro, they make over $200,000 a year. Probably more than that with all their book deals and all the shit they do on the side. So you're talking to yourself. Yo, she's so dumb. Something is mentally wrong with this lady.
Or her team.
Like straight up, man.
So in these kinds of situations, you have to approach it that there's two options: stupidity and malice. Stupidity would suggest that she never received an education in this, that she legitimately believes what she's saying. She doesn't see the argument in this. Malice would be suggesting this woman graduated from Boston College with a degree in economics, fully knows damn well what the hell she's doing. And at this point, I used to think it was stupidity. It is malicious. She knows what she is doing. She went to a party of the rich for the rich to celebrate the rich, where it's $30,000 a ticket, $275,000 a table, and she's one of us.
This bitch is stupid.
The thing that's ridiculous about this is, like, when she's doing all of this and she's touting all of this money, right? And she is just another Bernie Sanders. This is exactly what Bernie Sanders does. Bernie Sanders drives around in a pretty nice Audi R8. That wasn't cheap. Like, that car's not a cheap car. And everybody just keeps moving on. But I got a better dress to show you. We made this better. Let's show this one.
Oh, this should be good.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
That's kind of funny. Which we do not believe in any way, shape, or form. He did not win. I have to be very clear with saying that, just to be totally clear.
Someone doctored this up and I found it on Facebook. I was like, no, that's hilarious. Sure, let's go with that one. But overall, we all know she's nuts, and all she is she's just talking to people to keep being reelected. And unfortunately, her followers are just as stupid as she is.
Not intelligent.
And
why can't we say stupid?
I'm kidding. Because they say it to us.
They're fucking regarded as people that are intelligent.
We'll take it a step further. These people are remedial. These
motherfuckers.
I said regarded. Okay, I didn't throw it to you in there.
So speaking of stupid, and it falls under this category. So I want to keep this up because this is the mentality of the current people in charge of Congress and the executive branch, and people like AOC wearing a tax the rich dress to an event that none of us could even dream of going. Which, might I add, am I wrong, or are they indoors? They're not
They're
wearing masks.
indoors.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to bring that up.
Rules
So
for thee, but not
rules
for
for
me.
thee. So let's not even talk about that. Which again, I agree. There's no fine, don't. But you're forcing people that can't even. That's funny. They're forcing people that can't even go. And I have a story that at one point, hopefully, I can share. I'm waiting for a guest. She helped a young girl that was not. There's a rule that a 16 you have to be 16 to go into your COVID parents' room who's dying, and she had to sneak this girl in. It's like, who makes these scientific fucking rules? Anyways, moving on.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Everyone in attendance to that pretty much didn't wear a mask other than J-Lo and her new boyfriend, and then one other couple.
Her
And
new
then
boyfriend, Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
Ben Affleck wore a mask? Weird. Sorry, go ahead. Who else?
There's a picture of them kissing with their masks on, just like what Kamala did.
Yeah,
And then
virtue signals.
all of the workers, but everybody else didn't wear a mask.
Awesome. Yeah, of course the workers did. I like that there's that whole like class thing that we've heard some people talk about on. Anyways, so here's the thing. President Biden tweeted this today. To be clear, because he's talking about taxes, speaking of tax the rich, to be clear, if you make under $400,000, my Build Back Better agenda actually won't raise your taxes a cent. Not only that, you'll get a historic tax cut and see lower costs on things like childcare and healthcare. And wait, here's the statement. So you could say all that stuff, which is complete bullshit based on inflation, whatever. His last statement is the thing that gets it. And all of it will be paid for by the wealthy paying their fair share. So 400,000, which is not even the top 1% in the country anymore, which technically 400 to 600,000 is the epitome of the American dream. These are small business owners that finally made it, that have worked their butt off their whole life. And you're literally saying that they're the ones that are going to be paying the fair share. Like, that's insane. You are literally punishing those that have finally made it to pay for those that get tax benefits that maybe are hard workers or those that are living off the system. This is the dumbest statement of the day by Joey Basements.
Only the rich are taxed in our country. 49% of our country doesn't pay any tax.
Jesus Christ.
Another 30% are a net negative on our tax base, as in what no matter, even though they pay taxes, they still draw out more. You know, the top 10% of our country's income bracket pays 90% of our taxes. And the top 1% pays 40%. So it's like, no, we already tax the rich. This is based purely on ignorance. Like purely on ignorance. And if she wasn't so damn sexy, people would be much more angry about this.
What the?
He is not sexy. Whoa.
I don't even want to know what your date looks like.
He cannot be on the screen anymore.
You gotta go. What?
Thank you.
She looks like a fucking horse, man. There's nothing. I'm not even gay, and I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. Ew. She's ugly.
I want to be very clear here at Be the Change. We believe everybody is beautiful, and I think that no matter what, we think everybody we can't afford a strike. Anyways, all right. So here we know we've now learned that anything else on this, so we can finish the episode.
Minus Kevin, we're done with his commentary on this one.
Yeah, you literally, if your special lady friend is still watching and she has similar political views as you literally, there is no second date. And if she's a smart woman, there is no second date. Go find somebody else in your chapter. God, found Kevin's girlfriend. Okay,
yeah.
all right, moving on. All right, final thing. So this is it. That's funny. If you're hiding the fact that it's Jessica, and it is Jessica, she just said you screwed up. Okay. So if anybody saw this,
Jesus.
Okay, all right, calm down. So WKYZ, which is a Detroit station, I guess their ABC affiliate, they put this story up, which shocking. They're looking for it, and it backfired bigly. It had 155,000 comments, 149,000 shares. And if you actually go through, I'll put the link in. I'm actually going to put the link in now. Don't go to it now, but go for it later to look at the comments, which from a mathematical perspective, whatever they're reporting can't be true because unless everyone is lying about what's going on. So they say after the vaccines were available to everyone, did you lose an unvaccinated loved one to COVID-19? If you're willing to share your family stories, please DM us your contact information. We may reach out on a story they're working on. Of course, they're working on a story. Who knows who up on the top local, and I'm sure it'll get picked up nationally. If you really want the story, go ahead and look at all the comments. So 84,000 comments, and you will see an overwhelming amount of adverse reactions, family members that are V-worded and have passed away. You will see just endless amounts of data that completely destroys the narrative. Completely destroys the narrative. So if you want to have a good time, go ahead and check out this article. And there's another one that I posted earlier on the live that I did where a woman who is a Bernie bro, by the way, she wasn't a bro, she's a woman, who died from COVID, unvaccinated. She requested the I word. They would not give it to her. I do not believe she got monoclonal antibodies either. She died, and it's being celebrated. It is being celebrated that this woman died. And then they were also talking about that she doesn't wear masks. Fun story. Somebody was going ham on the fact that she's a mask idiot, and I refuted their logic. And this same woman, by the way, I decided to do a little research on her, and the conversation was going for a while. I looked, she was at a Harley Fest last week with about 1,000 people not wearing a mask anywhere. And I said, well, that's really weird if you're going to virtue signal and then be a hypocrite. Needless to say, that was the last comment made. She shut up. Regardless, this is what's coming out of the news. It's forced. It is literally forced to try to find these news stories. We wonder where the propaganda is coming from. And this, I can't believe, has not been taken down by Facebook because it proves what we've been talking about, what our people have been talking about, that it's a choice. Not that it's bad, not that it's wrong, but it should be a damn choice. That's all I got. What are your thoughts on this one, Suni? I know you've been getting more into COVID talk lately, so I think you're seeing the importance of it.
No, it's because it's me and my husband had a long talk, and I could talk about it now since he's already went ahead and did it. He was going to get out. He's like, I don't want this. It makes no sense to get it. We sat and did research for at least 2 months to figure out what he was actually going to do. And then he ultimately said, why am I not wanting to get it? Is it because of my morals, or is it because I really feel like this is a deadly vaccine? And ultimately he's like, well, it goes against my morals, but at the end of the day, I signed a contract. So my morals, it would be him being a hypocrite. Like, I've gone against my morals for almost 12 years being enlisted. So he got vaccinated. So for me, it's just, I don't know. I'm just calling out common sense. Like, I think this is stupid. I think everything that's going on is really ridiculous, but I really think it's happening because we have been silent. We have cowered down, been afraid. People got really afraid when Joe Biden was like, I'm going to mandate federal employees with over 100 employees. You need to make sure your people are vaccinated. He can't do that. And more people are actually saying no. So for me, am I getting more involved? Yeah, because I just think it's stupid. So it's not even like I'm concerned. It's more of, I want to make people look ridiculous. Like the people that push this vaccine stuff, I think they need to be made a fool of, because there are actually more people having adverse effects to this than the people that had COVID. 78% of people that were hospitalized were fat.
Yeah.
Okay? They were fat. Most of the people, majority of the people dying, fine. We'll use the clinical term of obese, aka
morbidly
fat.
Just call them morbidly obese.
Look, and then most of the people that actually were dying from it, let's be honest, they had pre-existing conditions and they didn't actually die from COVID.
Nope.
We saw how many stories did we see come out when COVID, maybe like the first 6-7 months into it, when they were just trying to scare the crap out of everybody. A guy got into a motorcycle accident, COVID death.
Real quick.
Come on.
just to reinforce your point, Louder with Crowder did a thing on this. I think the third name on the New York Times list when they released all of it was someone who put a bullet in their head.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm paying
I mean-
attention to it more, not only because my husband did take it, and you can bet your bottom dollar if something happens to him, you're gonna see my face on every news outlet, whether
Yep.
you want to see me or not, because I'm showing up. You have to come back to the States. He is healthy. He's never gone to the doctor. He's never, ever had to go to the emergency room for any type of sickness. This guy is in pristine health. So if something does go wrong, I'm going to be their worst enemy. So now
Sunni's got a crush.
you got me paying attention.
Yeah, I think it's it's the reason why it's important is we talk about the fact that there's always distractions. What are they really doing? What is this distracting from? And I think this was the thing. They've been silently injecting, pun intended, things into the American public. They're using this V word as their ultimate divider, as well as something that there's other things that I can say about it from a whole and a medical perspective, but they're using this to single-handedly destroy whatever is left, because there's a lot of people on the right that are actually, they're like, Joe Biden is doing the right thing on this one. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so they're finding a way to divide leftists from other leftists. They're finding a way to divide conservatives from other conservatives. This is the final straw, and I think that they've been injecting this so quietly that this is where we are. Go ahead.
So, for those of you unaware, I am very involved with my college campus and politics and everything like that. I'm currently the vice president of our Turning Point USA chapter. And we had a meeting tonight, and we were going over this kind of stuff, right? Because Colorado State is currently mandating vaccines or twice a week testing, but in addition to that, they are going after people who aren't necessarily participating in all of this. Like they're choosing not to, clearly violating the right to privacy. And what's very interesting to me, so like two things I want to point out. First and foremost, the reason why this is the way it is, why the media is the way they are, is because there is a narrative that they are trying to construct, that they are trying to push on the people, that they are trying to turn into at least some version of reality. And all things that are contrary to that do not exist as far as their reporting goes. That's very intentional. It's a tactic that that Russia's use. It's a tactic that China uses. Only things that fit the narrative. Everything fits the narrative. Whether it's a lie or not, everything fits the narrative. And then, but when you move beyond that, watching what's going on in America now, so our university is actively contradicting one of their most valuable tenets, which is Roe v. Wade, which dictates that we have a right to privacy. The government does not have a right to know your medical history. In order to punish the way Joe Biden wants to, they must necessarily violate the tenets of Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade did not affirm abortion necessarily. It affirmed abortion through the affirmation of our right to privacy and the government's non-right to know our medical history.
Right.
In order to punish, the government must know your medical history. So I think that it would be the funniest shit in the fucking world that the thing that topples Roe v. Wade is the leftist push for mandatory vaccines. Because one of two things will happen. Either they reaffirm our right to privacy, in which case they say that even if the government then mandates it, they have no enforcement arm because they are not allowed to actually know who has and has not taken it outside of someone confessing. Or the government has a right to know your medical history, in which case the government has a right to know that you are having an abortion, in which case the government has a right to stand in and stop your taking of a life. So
go ahead.
This is where the contradictions come together, because their narrative is built on so much bullshit that eventually it's coming together. You see it with the LGBTQ alphabet. The first three letters of that do not agree with anything that follows after it. Right? That's one of the first contradictions. And now Roe v. Wade, what it says is in direct contradiction to their desire to mandate. So it's going to be very interesting, because Roe v. Wade is going to be one of the big things used by smart lawyers on the right, which there are not very many of, because either we have a right to medical privacy and the government doesn't have a right to know if we're vaccinated or not, or they do, in which case they also have a right to know if you've had an abortion, and they have a right to punish you for taking a human life.
Right. I'm on the side that I hope that the rules behind Roe versus Wade topple the mask mandates. That would be my preference. But anyways, all right, we're gonna wrap up. Is there any? Sorry, did you have something else, Soons?
Oh, you guys want to hear a quick funny story?
Always.
Yeah.
So I was on a live with my kids in the car. I'm just goofing off, and my daughter's like, "Mom, what is binarian?" And I was like, "What?" I said, "Turn the volume all the way down." Listen, I'm gonna put this video up. I just had to make sure my kids weren't in it. But she said, "What's binarian?" And I was like, "Well, what do you think it is?" And she said, "Well, my friend Leo at school said he ain't a boy or a girl." And I was like, he said, "What?" He ain't a what? She was like, "Yeah, how can you not be a boy or a girl?" And I was like, "Well, it's not possible." So she's just
how old?
Like, she's 7. So me, moms, we like freak out. Okay. I was shaking. I almost turned my car back around to go to the school to lose my shit. But I was like, you know what? Let me just go home. Let me calm down. I don't want her to see me freak out. So I said, listen, that's not your friend anymore. And anybody who's saying that, yeah, that's what we do in this house. I pick your friend. Sorry.
You're not wrong.
That's not your friend anymore. And you know what? That kid is probably listening to something he heard from his parents, or maybe something he watched on TV. But as long as you know there can only be a boy and a girl, we're good. Because they're pushing this new agenda on kids here. I don't know if this is just DOD education, but they're telling the kids you can have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Growth mindset means it's forever evolving. Fixed mindset means it's something negative. You shouldn't have a fixed mindset. So I have to actively every day teach my kids, listen, this is something you have a fixed mindset on. You don't walk around thinking that genders can be changed. So at the end of the conversation, we asked her, so what is a kid in your school? And she's like, a boy. So I was like, look, don't go to school. Don't go to school, because I said a whole lot of other stuff that I probably shouldn't have said about this kid. I'm like, yo, he's weird as shit. And yes, I said this in front of my daughter. He's probably got some sort of mental stuff going on, or maybe he's got some fucked up parents, but
that's probably more likely.
Yeah, that's not what we do.
How do you approach that as a parent? How do you approach the other parents as a parent?
That's the battle that I'm having now. And it's not my place to approach them, but it absolutely is my place to pull your teacher to the side to say, this is going on in your classroom. I'm not okay with it. Yeah. My kids shouldn't be subjected to some shit that some other kid brought to school because his parents are not inept enough to not only not pay attention to what you're taking in, but ultimately be having these conversations with the 7-year-old. You should have saw her face. She was like, how can you not be a boy or a girl? She was mentally tormented. It was
because it's very confusing, and it makes no sense. It should be an outlier instead of becoming the norm. So the whole concept of the growth mindset or the fixed mindset, and then I'll stop talking on the subject. So that's the area that they can get you is growth mindset means you're being progressive, whereas the fix means you're set in your ways, and that's not the way. So technically, the conversation you had with your child actually is a growth mindset. It's not fixed. It's considering the world around you, having a conversation, working through it logically and emotionally, and coming to a conclusion that does not make sense. That's actually very progressive. It's not fixed, because fixed has a very negative connotation. Now, if you did not have that conversation with your daughter, or was your daughter correct? Yeah. If you did not have that conversation with your daughter and you simply just said, no, that's wrong, We're not even having this conversation. That's a boy. Conversation over. That's a fixed mindset. But
Right.
engaging it is you challenged her. You said, "Well, what do you think of this?" That's very progressive. That's very growth mindset. So don't sell yourself short. You're not fixed there, unless you're fixed and not having any more children. That's a different subject.
Absolutely am. The baby machine is done.
Oh, really? Interesting.
No, I don't want any more kids. No, I don't. It
Okay.
would be.
You're good.
It would be I would get off. I would completely disappear from social media. That's how bad it would be. But no,
So
it's a funny story because I never thought it would happen to me. I was like, I'm never going to have this conversation. And then I had it and I lost my shit. I went in my room, into my closet, and I like cried for my kids because I'm like, this is messed up, man.
Yeah.
I should not have to talk to them about this ridiculous stuff. Yeah, like go to school and freaking learn. Play with some toys, do some tangibles. Like, why y'all talking about this in school? They even talk about politics in school, man. It's so bad.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to do our final words. As a reminder, while we still have pretty much everybody watching, if you would like any of the gear you see us wearing, we've got, I've got the Follow the Money shirt right here with some cash money and needles, which, not those kind of, well, whatever. We got the Be the Change shirt there. Pay no attention to dumbass in the upper right corner. He's just wearing a Lady Liberty.
It's a Turning Point shirt.
So use the, your girl's going to be dating somebody else from Turning Point when she finds out you think AOC is hot. Wake up for 20% off. As the code you got to use. Make sure you order. We also have, real quick, I'm going to flip through these. Ready? Bam.
Suck my fat rooster, Anthony.
Impeach.
We're talking about my merch right now. He's not going to interrupt that.
Yeah, okay. So we got impeach Biden, fire Kamala, retire Pelosi, and then here's hers. We don't have these up. They're up on the website, the other ones, but we've got this. This does have a Sunni signature on the back. Fight against tyranny. We've got unvaccinated lives matter. I cannot. There's going to be a video I share later, not on this show, of a woman getting chased around a Target. I cannot wait. This guy, he is the Sunni. I'll send it to you. It's on TikTok. It's brilliant. I cannot wait for somebody to get mad at me at a store, and it's going to be so good. Look at this idiot. I will not live in fear. Speaking of that, he's wearing that mask down there and some other stuff. So again, Sunni's got a whole line of stuff. Just go to the store, do wake up code. Donald's got his shirts. He's got the Louisiana shirt. Donald, I actually got to send the GoFundMe some money that was donated actually from Easy, as well as some of the sales of the shirts. So we'll check that out. So here you go, guys. That's the store. Let's do final words. Sunni, let's have you go first, because I'm assuming with the polls closing in California, you might be doing an IG Live later, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we're going to be doing IG Live. Look, everybody I'm working on some things in the background to help people be able to have different avenues to fight. Not everybody's going to go protest. Not everybody's going to go make their voices heard at not city council meetings, but different meetings that you might not feel comfortable attending, but you can use your protest with your dollar. I don't think Americans understand how powerful they are, because you are the consumer. You can even attack, not even attack, but you can even protest certain hospitals that are requiring these crazy things and remove money from them. So this is just my piece of advice. I have started to pull back my dollar in different ways that I could. And I'm going to be working on some stuff in the background to help you be able to step up, because most people are like, what do I do? Okay, I can't do that. I'm not comfortable doing this. Well, I'm going to take all your excuses away from you and provide you different options. So be on the lookout for that. More importantly, everybody just stop being afraid. If you believe in God, whatever your religious views are, I'm a Christian. There's nothing on this earth that I fear. Nothing. I don't fear the vaccine. I don't fear Joe. I don't even really fear these unconstitutional things. If anything, I worry about my kids. But even then, I don't worry about them, because I know the end goal and I know where they're going when this is all said and done. So don't have a spirit of fear, because God gave us all a sound mind. Just stand up. There's no reason to be afraid.
So based on request, once we're done with all four of this and I do the sign off, I'll go ahead and just play it at the end of the show, because you guys want to see it. It's hilarious. Okay. And we could just make jokes and talk over it and then just end the show at that point. It's 2 minutes long. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to, there's a comment that I wanted to address. I don't remember what it was. Never mind. Go ahead, lover boy. Go for it.
First and foremost, people ask about my name. Hopefully this last one gave it away what the trend was. If you don't know what it is, go watch some fucking Westerns, please. But more importantly than anything else, and I don't really talk about religion as much as I should. God does not put any obstacle before you that you cannot overcome. If you find that life is getting really tough, just know that you have the strength within you to overcome anything put before you. We have the strength to get through this because God gives us this strength. We have this within us because that's how we are. Like we are an extension of him. We have the strength to overcome the evil that is going before us. We have the strength that, how do I put this, right? Like we as a people hold all the power in this nation if we understand that we do. And right now, a lot of people don't think we do. If we stand together through this, if we trust in God, if we trust in each other, although I know that's difficult, we can overcome whatever. Lastly, I just want to say, check out Liberty Revolt Media at times. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for putting up with me. I'm operating on like an hour and a half of sleep right now, so my brain is super loopy. And yeah,
were you out with somebody? Were you out with a different girl last night?
No, this is actually just my insomnia that leaves me with crippling like awakeness at all times. So it's fun. It's a great time. But I really appreciate you guys putting up with it. And again, there is nothing that God will ever put before you that he thinks you cannot overcome.
Take it down.
Facts.
Facts.
Just one of the things like that's on my mind today is the government can't impose themselves on you guys. Like we have the power, we have the freedom. Make sure you leverage what you have in front of you and the power of the American people. Don't think that you're in this on your own. You can get people together, unite, and then solve these problems. And then that's how we can actually get to it and get to a resolution around all of this. Like I made a post, I think it was earlier today or yesterday. Like one of the things that just came to my mind randomly as I was driving down the street, for all of the restaurants that require vaccine cards, encourage food trucks just to go park outside those restaurants. That's one of the ways you can actually utilize capitalism and beat people. And just go through those things. Yeah, don't do that.
Well, I was gonna say city permitting might be. It depends on your local ordinances. But yeah.
There's ways it can work. There's ways it can work, but just different stuff like that, and it would encourage things. And just share your message with people, and let's unite and be positive and come together.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think there's more of us. And if Casey's done. There's what we're learning is the silent majority, and I'm not talking about T-rumpers, but people are starting to speak up. You've got kids taking photos wearing all Trump gear, which was hilarious around the President of the United States of America. I'm like, is that real? And it is. His PR spin was that it was a message about unity. He didn't even know. Let's be honest. He's too.
Shut your ass up,
yeah, but yeah, he would have said like he was smiling way too. Anyways, but ultimately we are starting to stand up, and it took we got pushed for too long. We waited too long, but now is yes, local, shorten your supply chain, be uncomfortable, but agreed. Guys, it's coming to the days where our voices are being heard. I did a video in a car yesterday and it got 50,000 views. Didn't see that coming. Actually, where it's almost 60,000. Have not had anything like that since the cash days. And I don't know why. We gained 1,000 followers overnight. It's been forever since we gained that. Our voice needs to keep spreading. And part of it is also that idea of prayer and positivity. For the first time in a long time, I believe that we can do this. And I started praying on it. And poof, my goal was to get to 100,000 followers by March. And you know what? If we keep decent pace, we're there. And the thing that I lost faith. And I hope that you guys out there, if we can mirror us, whether it's uniting or whatever it is, maybe it's also about having faith that we'll make it out of this together, no matter what. We'll be holding our hands into the fire or into the victory end zone, whatever that might be. Anyways, all right, I'm going to play the video after the count, the final thing, and you'll see it, and we'll laugh, and that'll be it. We're not going to talk anymore. So, catch you guys.
That's what you think.
Okay. This is why we can't have nice things. Where's the end of the show? There it is.
In the store and point at me to people. So I will video you.
So we have a state regulation that
and it's not law. You're an idiot.
That guy has comorbidities.
going to insult me.
Back. He got titties on him.
Turn to your right, bro. There's bras right there. You need a couple.
This is between
Sarah?
the two of us.
So what? Leave her alone. You got your mask on. You're safe. I'm sure you're vaccinated too.
He is. He has
I would have
badge
slapped
that
the
says it.
fuck out of him, man.
So my wife is a doctor who specializes in infectious disease.
Mhm.
So, you know, do you think that she just doesn't know what she's talking about?
It's her choice.
Well, you're not the doctor
No,
there,
there's a
bud.
store requirement and a state requirement.
Look at him point.
I'm wondering, why does he have to point?
Hey, look.
Child.
Are you offering that finger to me to like hide or something? Like, what's going on?
And make sure that people are safe when you're with me.
He was
When they
following me.
put the
He
rest
won't
of
leave me
us
alone.
in.
Blaming you for not wearing a mask? Are you kidding me?
I know, and he has a badge on.
A badge? Are we in fucking Germany?
Did you not see that he had a little pin on that says "I'm vaccinated"? This is
Yeah,
not.
No.
it's vaccinated.
Look, she's got veggie meat in there. I love her.
Where did it go?
I know, and he has
Oh,
a
we'll
badge
we'll
on.
see the mask again. Hold on, or the badge
Stop
again.
following me.
The vag.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
It's a vax badge. A badge.
By publicly shaming me?
The public venue. Yeah, you're making
my
a bad
finger.
decision. You're a
Have you
bad
seen
American.
yourself,
I
bud?
am.
You
There
should
it is.
be-
You- look at his pin.
Yeah, you're a bad
Wow.
person.
Like
You're a
is that
bad
Carrot
person.
Top?
Bad person for doing
He's
it.
not a bad person because my mom was vaccinated and still ended up in the hospital with COVID. It's her choice.
That's health at every size Carrot Top right there.
Yeah.
It's not unusual. I just had somebody die last week of COVID.
Notice that they're in Target.
So you're saying she just makes this stuff up?
You probably would only see this in
Notice,
Target.
notice he doesn't have a basket. He is just harassing people.
Listen,
Yo,
I'm gonna go hang out at Target more.
these people, look, I feel like these people know who to fuck with and who not to
Where-
mess with.
where is
Like-
her man?
She don't need a man. I would have. I know a little bit of karate, bro. I would have freaking suplexed the hell out of this dude. You walk up on me pointing. I would gladly go to jail for that one. Look, we need to shoot the ones, bro. I'm bad because I don't want to wear a mask. Yeah, I would have fought this dude.
That's what I'm saying.
I fought this dude.
Yo, if that was my
Can you-
girl getting
can you
attacked like that,
Can you imagine if she had the Unvaccinated Lives Matter shirt on? Ooh!
look, I'ma just say that, like, you know, normally it's the girl that makes a sandwich, but sometimes the dude's got to make a knuckle sandwich for someone real quick, and that dude definitely deserves one.
I would have wait, what do you call it? Yeah, I would have ball tapped this dude so hard.
Nut tap.
Tap tap. Screw
He
squad.
even has a badge on that says it. He's been following me around the store yelling at me. Are you serious? Yes. These
Are you
ladies have been very supportive. I know.
Disgusting.
Yeah, there's his badge. Anyways, that's it.
I am.
Oh, you are? 'Cause
Oh
I
my
remember
God.
you know.
I'm going to Target.
Thanks, bro.
Jesus.
Oh, there it is. Nut checked it. All right. Good night, guys.
He would have got ball tapped, suplexed, bitch slapped. I might have put him in a headlock.
Give
Yeah,
him
we
a
would've
hair
been
pull.
brawling.
Like, look at that shit.
She does. Yeah, we got to find this chick. She
Find out
deserves
who
a
she
free
is.
shirt.
Oh
We gotta
god.
find that out. All right.